Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Skills and Abilities. Today we're going to be looking over the Paladin spell known as Holy Bolt, which is in the Combat Skills tree. Now the Paladin spell Holy Bolt is actually one that never really quite got a lot of use because it just wasn't really that great. One of the biggest downsides of Holy Bolt was that it only damaged demons. Another downside was that it dissipated when it hit its target, which means that it didn't really do a large amount of damage to multiple targets. It was pretty much just a single target ability that only affected undead monsters, and that was it. Now, they have changed it so that Holy Bolt now will damage both demons and undead, which is, I think, a very, very good change, especially since, demons are supposed to be afraid of the holy arts as well. And they've also given a Holy Bolt the ability to pierce. So before, it would hit a target and then completely just disappear. But now what happens is that when you cast Holy Bolt, it will pierce through the target and out the other side and dish a pretty nice amount of damage to just about everything within range. It also has a very nice travel distance, and of course it is also governed by faster cast. So any monster that is a demon is going to take pretty nice damage from this effect, and you can effectively kill most targets with Holy Bolt now. Holy Bolt is also attached to the ability Fist of Heavens, and Fist of Heavens got the same treatment. The Holy Bolts that come out of Fist of Heavens also dish out damage to demons as well now, and also pierce. Now, Holy Bolt gets a huge synergy bonus, and it used to have a synergy bonus from Blessed Hammer. What they did was they beefed up the damage of Holy Bolt, and they removed the synergy from Blessed Hammer so that you no longer can build Blessed Hammer to buff up Holy Bolt. And I believe they did this specifically as a slight against Blessed Hammer Paladins, because Blessed Hammer Paladins are already pretty OP to begin with, and they really didn't need the extra buff. I mean, you can still build Holy Bolt as a Blessed Hammer Paladin, and you're just going to have to do it a different way. Now, as you can see, Holy Bolt does a pretty massive amount of damage, even at only level 33, with 4,598 to 5,203, which is pretty impressive, to be honest. But it does not damage, of course, non-demons and non-undead. So things like blood maggots, which are of course not demons and not undead, are still going to have a bit of an issue with. You're going to have another way to kill them, like for instance my beautiful ice mercenary, who is doing extremely well in hell difficulty. I'm actually quite surprised at how well she's dishing out damage. Of course, she does have a faith bow. Now, because of the synergy bonus on this, there is a massive 50% damage per level, which is 1,000% when maxed out. You can actually activate some other odd builds, and I've already gone over this quite a few other times in other videos, but you can utilize armor like, for instance, the Principal Armor, which has 100% chance to cast level 5 Holy Bolt on striking. The level 5 Holy Bolt that comes from Principal will also get the 1,000% synergy bonus if you put 20 points into Fist of the Heavens, and will give you a spammable Holy Bolt on attack. And this is one of the things that I've been utilizing with this particular build, is that you can basically just run in and get tons of Holy Bolts spamming out all over the place. It's actually pretty nice damage, and it actually works out pretty well. As you can see, I was able to destroy those Erdars pretty quickly that are, of course, demons. Now, Holy Bolt is governed by faster cast, so if you would like to beef it up, you're going to need items that give you faster cast. Like, for instance, a Spirit, Sword and Shield, and maybe even a Fortitude if you wanted to build the Zealer. That's kind of an interesting idea, just to have extra faster cast that way. A Skin of the Viper Magi, of course, would help the casting speed quite a bit. Things like that are definitely going to increase the speed. As you can see right now, my speed is... and even just 30% brings that to a much faster level. So if you were going to build yourself a Holy Bolt Paladin, specifically one that casts Holy Bolts, I would probably recommend that you get yourself a decent amount of faster cast. The other thing about Holy Bolt is that because it has a synergy with prayer, you can also beef up the amount of life that it heals. So as you can see right now, it only heals for 65 to 133, and that is because I do not have any points into its synergy. If I put some points into prayer, you will notice that the synergy bonus goes up pretty nicely. And let's do that really quickly, shall we? Let me go ahead and put some points into stats so I can wear this equipment. And let's just go ahead and grab the Holy Bolt. Now, you can do these separate from each other. You don't have to build up the damage to get the life, and you don't have to build up the life to get the damage. So right now, we're at 65 to 134, and with maximum prayer, we are looking at a total of 325 to 670 per Holy Bolt, which is pretty nice, and could certainly maintain a mercenary's life or something like that relatively easily. If we take a look at my mercenary right now, she only has 1,680 life, which means that I could effectively heal her to full probably within what? Let's take an average of this. So we've got 325 to 670. So 325 plus 670 equals 995. Divided by 2 equals 497. And then we take her HP, so 1,680. 1,680 divided by the 497, which gets us effectively a full heal in about 3.3 hits, which isn't too bad at all, especially if you were rocking a large amount of faster cast. You could probably heal her to full relatively quickly. And one of the beautiful things about the fact that it can pierce now, and this is honestly, I think, one of the best parts, is that if you are fighting a boss or a monster or something like that, and your mercenary is also fighting the boss or monster, there's a nice little mini game of trying to make sure that as you attack the boss or monster, you are, of course, hitting your mercenary in the process. So you could, just make sure that you are standing in the correct spot so that when you're shooting off your bolts, they're going through the monster and hitting your minion in the process. And it's not exactly a terrible thing. I mean, having the ability to heal your merc and dish out damage at the same time is certainly not a bad thing. One of the other beautiful things about this is that if you have a melee merc instead of a ranged merc like mine, you would effectively be able to keep your mercenary alive much, much, much easier. So, pretend we have an Act 2 merc or an Act 5 merc. Both of those are melee mercs, and they're in there doing their thing. They're in there fighting. You can target him, keep him alive while he's attacking, and you can do pretty nice damage. Now, granted, I didn't beef up the damage side of this. So I was only dishing out healing damage and not really a lot of actual magical damage. So keep that in mind. Now, if we beef this up to maximum, let's go ahead and do it, shall we? So let's go ahead and beef up the synergy. So now we've got max damage and max healing, right? So let's go back down there again, and let's try out max damage and max healing while trying to maintain our mercenary. So we're going to let our mercenary go in there and tank, and we're just going to cast off some heals on her. And notice I can keep her alive and dish out damage really easily to these demons and undead. Now, you obviously wouldn't take a Holy Bolt Paladin somewhere where they're going to have trouble. You wouldn't take them to the cow level or, somewhere where there's a large number of non-undead and non-demon monsters. So, you're going to pick and choose your battles. Chaos Sanctuary is an absolutely great place. It's level 85, and there are literally no monsters in Chaos Sanctuary that are not demons or undead. Now, the River of Flame does have some non-undead demon monsters. The maggots, for instance, are one of those. So you do have to keep that in mind as you're traversing the little kind of like causeway to the Chaos Sanctuary. But inside of Chaos Sanctuary, there are no monsters that are immune to this particular effect. The other important thing that we've got to go over here before I finish this is that Holy Bolt is magic damage. And because it is magic damage, it will literally dish out this amount of damage that it says, because the majority of the monsters in the game do not have any resistances to its effect. This is an absolutely amazing thing in terms of damage output. when you're dealing with a monster like, for instance, that's 50% physical resistant, and you're doing 10,000 damage, if he's 50% physical resistant, you've already cut your damage in half down to 5,000. If I'm dealing out 5,000 magic damage, and the monster is 0% magic immune, I'm dishing out 5,000 magic damage, and it doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of this ability, is that it kind of just bypasses the majority of monsters' resistances in the game. We also have to take into account the fact that certain monsters in the game are magic immune. But the funny thing is because this is a holy base damage, even monsters like undead that are immune to magic still take full damage from this Holy Bolt ability. It doesn't make any sense to me, because you have a undead monster, he's immune to magic. It literally says immune to magic under his name, but I guess because this is holy damage, it doesn't really count. And an effect like Bone Spear, you wouldn't be able to kill the monster with. Bone Spirit is magic damage. Couldn't kill the monster with him with that. But Holy Bolt bypasses it entirely, which is very amazing. If you do get a chance, take a look at my Principle video or my Godzilla video, because I do go over the Principle rune word in detail, which gives you the Holy Bolt proc. There is one other item in the game which will give you a Holy Bolt proc, and that is the Laying of Hands Bramble Mitt, both of which can be very interesting in terms of building a Paladin. I definitely think the Principal rune word is not really the greatest rune word in the world, but the 100% chance to cast level 5 Holy Bolt does make it a very interesting contender with the Holy Bolt changes. I'd love to hear your comments down below, what you have planned for Holy Bolt. Are you going to be building a Holy Bolt Paladin for ladder? Are you thinking about working Principle into your builds? Are you looking at building a Fist of the Heavens Paladin? There are definitely a lot of things to consider, and Fist of the Heavens is certainly one of those things. Fist of the Heavens also has Holy Bolts that come out of it, and if you are building Holy Bolt, a lot of the times you build Fist of the Heavens too. But the thing is that you don't necessarily need to build Fist of the Heavens to get good damage out of the Holy Bolt. And that's kind of the funny thing. So the Holy Bolt damage comes from the Holy Bolt synergy. So for instance, if I were to build 20 points into Fist of the Heavens and 20 points into Holy Bolt, I would get full Holy Bolt damage on Fist of the Heavens, without having to build the Holy Shock synergy, which increases the lightning damage. And then I could use Fist of the Heavens to get free Holy Bolts on my targets. To give you guys an example of this, let me go down to River of Flame, and let's take a look really quickly at like a group of monsters that are considered demons. So what Fist of the Heavens does is it shoots out an exact number of Holy Bolts as the monsters nearby. So as you can see, as I utilize it, we get more and more Holy Bolts. Now the downside is that the Holy Bolts do not hit the target that you are Fist of the Heavensing. So if you Fist of the Heavens a monster specifically who you want to kill, those Holy Bolts are not going to dish out any damage to that exact target. But the more monsters that are nearby, the more Holy Bolts you will see, and you will literally get more and more and more Holy Bolts for every single demon or undead monster that is on the screen. And I just think it's important to talk about this, because if you are going to be building Holy Bolt, there is a very good chance that you are probably going to want to also get the Holy Bolts that come from Fist of the Heavens. Now, when would you use one over the other? Well, the Holy Bolt that comes out of the actual ability, the one that you cast, tends to be the better one in terms of single target or line-based damage, especially if you are dealing with a group of monsters that is very tightly packed, especially since you can hit all of them at once. Whereas the Fist of the Heavens tends to be better for large groups. The larger the group, the better, because obviously you're getting a large amount of Holy Bolt damage per monster. And if you have like 10 or 20 monsters nearby, it can definitely be very handy to use Holy Fist of the Heavens, which is going to get 10 or 20 Holy Bolts. And this can be very, very interesting to basically go back and forth between these two abilities and figure out which one is better in turn. Obviously, the 5,203 damage on Holy Bolt is much higher than the 2,800 on the Fist of the Heavens. But if you're firing out, like 30 bolts with one Fist of the Heavens, it definitely does become a lot more interesting. I think that Fist of the Heavens and Holy Bolt is a very serious contender for Chaos Sanctuary runs. Chaos Sanctuary is a very easy place to run because it is full of undead and full of demons, and it's very, very fun. If you run Fist of the Heavens, you will have lightning damage, which can be useful to take out those targets that are not undead or demons. As always, I do appreciate when you watch my videos, even when we are talking about the holiest of abilities, the Holy Bolt. And as always, keep watching.